Gyeongju, the capital of 1,000 years, where shamanism of the old Gojoseon dynasty and Buddhism of the Shilla dynasty is grafted together to form a unique traditional psyche. A place where the fountainhead of Korean spirit lives on, unbroken. This is where Kim Dong-ni's novel, The Shaman Sorceress, was conceived. We visited Gyeongju, the mythical birthplace of the Shaman Sorceress, with the critic Jang Yun-ik. Toward the end of the Joseon dynasty, Korea was shrouded in chaos and conflict as foreign culture began infiltrating the country. The Shaman Sorceress is set in those turbulent times. The clash between foreign influence, as represented by Christianity, and traditional beliefs, represented by shamanism, is depicted through the conflicts and confrontation between Mohwa and her son Ugi.
The story begins as an uncommon drifter one day knocks on my family's door. My family had a so-called prestigious lineage with a handful of respected scholars and a reputation for great wealth. We were especially well known for our great taste in rare art and antiques, handed down through the generations along with other assets. The main house was always host to travelers, and naturally, numerous poets and artists always knocked on our door. It was about that time when the father and daughter decided to drop in. The 17-year-old girl who was said to have an amazing talent for painting, Nangi, was a deaf girl with an unusually pale complexion. There was a rare kind of sadness deeply embedded on her pale white face, which was whiter than the white of a cotton robe. The father and daughter artist stayed for about a month, drawing paintings and sharing stories from their past. On the last day of their visit, we furnished them with precious silk and money for their journey. They, in turn, left us a painting. That painting was the portrait of the Shaman Sorceress.
The birthplace of Kim Dong-ni, Seonggeon-dong, is a place where past and present and life and death coexist. It is also the backdrop of his works The Shaman Sorceress, Boy, The House of Hodolpul, and Ulhwa. The site of his former house is now full of overgrown weeds, as if telling the story of long years gone by. The town in the past was full of various houses, like Mohwa's house, with a stone gate and repugnant scent of soil, as described in the book, or empty haunted houses. Known as a village of shamans, every other house was occupied by a spiritual sorceress.
동리 선생이 태어나서 자라던 곳이 바로 성건동입니다. 그 성건동 주변에는 서천과 예기청수가 있어서 이곳을 통해서 동리의 샤머니즘 세계가 이루어졌다고 생각이 듭니다. 특히 유언설, 무녀도, 바위 같은 소설이 바로 배경이 이곳이 되고, 또한 동리가 할머니와 더불어서 예기청수에서 여러 번 구술을 받기 때문에 그것이 무녀도의 배경이 된 것으로 생각이 듭니다.
Seonggeon-dong, where Kim Dong-ni was born and raised, had a mythical geography in his literature. Mohwa and her dear daughter Nangi lives in this town called Yeominchon, just outside the walls of the capital Gyeongju.
Before Mohwa was inspired by the spirit, Nangi had a half-brother named Ugi. 10 years since he was sent away to a Buddhist temple, Ugi, once known as the most brilliant boy of the village, suddenly appeared in front of the family.
여기는 신라 27대 선덕여왕 때 세워진 아주 오래된 기림사입니다. 불국사보다 더 오래된 사찰이고 우기가 이곳에서 수년간 이 공부를 한 곳이기도 합니다.
Later, Ugi escapes the temple and becomes a Christian in Pyongyang.
Not a few days had passed when Ugi started displaying puzzling actions. Whenever he was about to take food, or before sleeping, or upon waking, he would recite a sort of incantation to himself for a long time. From time to time, he would take out a book he kept inside his robe and read it, an action that would confuse his mother and sister. The book he held out to them was nothing like the folk stories they had seen before, and he repeatedly spoke of the Lord. The religious conflict between mother and son that began just like that escalated until Moa puts an end to it by killing Ugi.
Gyeongju Jail Church, the first church in Gyeongju City, became the model for the church in the story built after Ugi's sacrifice. It was also home to his alma mater, Kenam School. Kim Dong-hee debuted in 1934 through the New Year Writing Contest in Joseon Ilbo. He firmly established himself as a novelist when The Descendant of Hwarang and Forest Fire were selected for awards in the following years. He is a profound influence in the modern Korean novel with numerous works such as The Shaman Sorceress, The Tale of Hwangto, and the full-length novel The Cross of Saban.
무녀도는 한국 고유의 샤머니즘과 외래 종교인 기독교와의 갈등을 통해서 우리 문학을 민족적 휴머니즘으로 승화시키는 중요한 역할을 한 작품으로 볼 수 있습니다. 그리고 이 무녀도는 3번이나 개작되었는데 마지막 개작인 을화가 노벨문학상 10위권 안에 들어가서 가장 한국적인 작품이 가장 세계적인 작품으로 이룩되었다는 것을 말해주고 있고 또한 모화를 통해서 낭이를 통해서 이 무녀도는 한국 샤머니즘이 영원히 살아있다는 것을 우리 토착문학이 영원히 살아있다는 것을 보여주는 작품입니다.
Suffering from enormous guilt after killing her son, Moha decides to give herself up to the dragon god by conducting a last ritual. She disappears into the water, leaving Nangi with her last words, a request to come looking for her when the flowers bloom in the spring.